Beginning with wage growth, because throughout the last couple years, we've seen rising wages. We've also seen, of course, rising prices. But it's been my observation that for lower wage workers, the people who are working paycheck to paycheck, real wages are up. In other words, the increase in their wages outpaced the increase in prices they were facing. And your latest report seems to indicate that that trend is actually even more broad-based right now. Could you speak to that?
That is right, exactly right. At the beginning of the pandemic, the wages went up a great deal for people in those public-facing service jobs that are relatively low paid, because that's where the shortages were, and they got positive real wages. But that has now spread. I think overall, on a 12-month basis, you now have wage growth by most measures that's higher than inflation. So real wages going up.
Well, that's obviously a good news story for the economy. Let me ask you about labor force participation, because we've also seen more people reentering the labor force. Obviously, that helps with inflation, wage inflation. And I understand that immigration actually has been an important part of that. Could you speak to the role of immigration in that sense?
Sure. So participation has moved up, I think, more than we had expected. It did move up last year. We were very disappointed, and then now it has moved up, and that's more people in the labor force. The other thing that's happened, though, is immigration basically went to almost zero during the pandemic, and there's been quite a strong rebound in immigration, and that's creating more people in the workforce. So we think one of the reasons why businesses are reporting that labor supply and demand are getting into better balance is because of both participation and immigration.
Thank you. I'm still hearing, and I know you are, and it's still a real phenomenon, that there are huge workforce shortages, especially in healthcare, nursing, all sorts of areas, and look forward to identifying ways to deal with those issues. So just a broad question on how you approach the decisions regarding interest rates, and I very much support the decision you and your colleagues made to pause the increase in interest rates. I understand you're going to continue to monitor the situation. I understand the signaling you've already given regarding the future, but you obviously have a dual mandate. You have mandate to maximize employment. You also have a price stability mandate. But then you also have this other responsibility regarding being a prudential regulator, overseeing the banks, including Silicon Valley Bank.
Hello, friends. This is important news. Many states and cities are currently holding massive surplus funds that are worth billions of dollars. But the deadline to allocate this money is coming up, or else it may be returned back to our federal government. So now several states, including Wisconsin, Minnesota, and Pennsylvania, are unveiling their new plans to provide tax cuts and relief to their residents. My dearest friends, please make sure that you watch until the end of this video. Also, do stay tuned, because I'll be announcing today's winners for the Walmart gift card giveaway. Remember, if you'd like to enter these weekly giveaway, friends, please click and like several of my videos, and then comment below the keyword of each video that you watch. The more videos that you watch and then comment on, friends, the greater your chances of winning the weekly giveaways. After the crisis finally began to decline, many states had collectively amassed their largest fiscal cushion on record by the start of the current budget year. Higher than expected tax revenue, among other temporary factors, drove the total held in savings and leftover budget dollars to new highs. But now most states are expected to spend at least a portion of their state surplus funds towards relief for low-income households. During fiscal year 2021, states grew their collective rainy day funds by nearly $38 billion, or an increase of about 50% from a year earlier, driving the total held among all states to a record high of nearly $115 billion. So moreover, amid widespread budget surpluses, The states reported the largest annual increase in leftover general fund budget dollars in at least the past 21 years. Among the 14 states that withdrew a combined total of $8.2 billion from their rainy day funds in fiscal 2020, all had made progress in replenishing their savings, in part or in full, by the start of this budget year. For example, Nevada emptied its rainy day fund of $332 million by the end of fiscal 2020, but has since deposited nearly a third of that amount. And the state of North Carolina withdrew roughly $680 million in fiscal 2020, but fully replenished those funds by the end of fiscal 2021. In the state of Wisconsin, income taxes would be cut across the board by $3.5 billion. Under the income tax cut, the average reduction would be 15% for all tax filers, or $573. The state would go from 4 to 3 brackets, with the lowest rate dropping to 3.5% and the highest rate being 6.5%. Democratic Governor Tony Evers, who had proposed a tax cut primarily benefiting low and middle income earners, has criticized the GOP plan. The largest percentage point comes at the highest rate, paid by married couples who earn more than $405,000. That rate would drop from 7.65% to 6.5%. The income tax cut will be paid for by tapping the state's projected $7 billion surplus. Republicans have also devoted $622 million to keep property taxes in check. Republican Representative Terry Katzma said, "The cuts were designed to keep Wisconsin competitive with neighboring states, with lower rates like Illinois, which has a flat tax of 4.95%. But Democrats objected, saying the tax plan would make the states less competitive when combined with GOP budget decisions to end funding for child care programs. The Minnesota legislature's $3 billion tax bill was one of the 2023 session's landmark pieces of legislation, with lawmakers approving rebate checks for over 2.5 million residents of Minnesota, and then distributing tax credits to impoverished families to help pay for child care and many other necessities. But within the bill, there's also $1 billion in tax increases, not including the new taxes that are tucked into other budget bills, like the metro area sales tax increases for housing and transportation. Governor Tim Walz signed a tax bill into law, and he commended lawmakers for using the state's $17.5 billion surplus to further his goal of making Minnesota the best state in which to raise a family. Single taxpayers who made up to $75,000 a year will receive a $260 check. Married joint filers who made up to $150,000 annually will receive a check for $520, and families with children and within these income threshold will receive an extra $260 per child with up to a maximum of 3 children. Also, Pennsylvania residents will be eligible for direct payments of up to $975, but the amount depends on a recipient's property taxes or rent paid during the prior year. While the maximum standard rebate is $650, supplemental rebates for qualifying homeowners can boost the rebates to $975. Property owners must have paid their taxes, and renters must ensure that their landlords made tax payments on the rental to qualify. All eligible recipients can expect their payments sometime in July. So, dear friends, if you reside in one of these states I have mentioned, please make sure that you receive one of your stimulus checks or rebate checks. Well, my awesome and most amazing friends, That is the end of my daily stimulus update video for this Friday. Thank you so very, very much, friends, for being here daily and for being part of this community. The winners of today's Walmart gift card giveaway is Paul Ramos Jr. and Ruth Anderson. Congratulations, my dearest friends. To claim your gift cards, please check your notifications page and send me a message. Or, my friends, you could message me on my Facebook page. Remember, friends, I'll be giving additional Walmart gift cards every Friday. If you'd like to enter these weekly giveaway, friends, please click and like several of my videos and then comment below the keyword of each video that you watch. The more videos that you comment on, my friends, the greater your chances of winning the giveaways. Thank you and have a wonderful and very blessed Friday.